Hey y'all, Moses here. Today I wanted to bring you this video to go over the 5 most underrated changes in the July patch as I see them. And some of these things you might have noticed yourself, which is totally fine, but I think that these changes were a little under the radar compared to some of the bigger changes. So obviously in the July patch we had the introduction of first person mode, some other changes including the addition of a new weapon, but there were some other changes down the patch notes that didn't really seem that important when talking about the other stuff. So let's jump right in. So for one, vehicle physics have been drastically improved in the sense that the Dacia no longer seems to weighs about 50 pounds and doesn't flip nearly as easily. It also seems to me that the vehicles have an anti-roll feature if they're on their sides. It seems that when rolling to a stop on your side, the game seems to just kick you over right side up to prevent you from flipping onto your roof. So this means a lot less flipping at inopportune times, like escaping from a circle or trying to maintain a car chase or an escape from another vehicle. Flipping vehicles seems a lot harder. Doesn't mean that it's impossible, but it does seem a lot harder than it used to, especially again with things like the buggy, little bumps, the Jeep. All the vehicles handle quite well. Motorcycles included seem to handle a lot better as well. I find that in first person mode, especially where I thought the motorcycles would be an absolute death trap, they are my preferred mode of transportation due to the vision that they give you. So kudos to the dev team for giving something so small such good attention, because it's a huge quality of life improvement not having to worry about your Dacia flying off in the wind. The second thing is the new healing animations and heal time. Now this is actually a pretty big change. I don't know, maybe this would be one of the, I think this is in the top 5 of the changes from a big deal standpoint. But the addition of the healing animations and the reduction of the healing time has really changed some of the game. I notice now, and I was actually surprised that it mattered, when you would see an enemy, you know, especially in something like squads healing, you could tell what kind of meds they were using, so you could maybe estimate how damaged they actually were. So if a player was bandaging, you know, you might have to take an extra shot at them to make sure that you know, they get killed. Whereas, you know, you can see a med kit in use or a first aid kit in use. The syringe animation is quite obvious. So when observing other enemy players, it's very interesting to be able to feed that information to your team, or just to take it into account for yourself, to know when a player is healing and is vulnerable. So that means they basically have to stand still for that 6 or 8 seconds. So really interesting change there for sure. The third thing is actually a very small change, and this is again quality of life, but the ability to bind commands to the mouse wheel. You can now bind commands to the mouse wheel, so you can go into your control settings and bind whatever you like. There are some suggestions, like having auto run bound to your mouse wheel, or being able to select your fire mode on the SMGs or otherwise by flicking up and down the mouse wheel. So I personally have chosen to bind my 0 distance up and down to the mouse wheel, which allows me to maintain and adjust my 0 for sniping without taking my hand off the key, off the device which is closest to the page up and page down key, which is the mouse at times, or even the movement keys. It's a lot easier to snipe and move around when you can adjust your 0 with the mouse wheel, and allows for you know, quick switching of distance and target acquisition. It's a really great quality of life change. Regarding sniping, there were some other changes specifically to the scopes that you probably have noticed yourself, but one change is more subtle than the other. So the 2X was redone. It has much better visibility and is quickly becoming one of my favorite sights in the game. The 2X, where before I didn't like it, I believe is now a great option for an AR up to the end of mid-range, and even for sniping, the 2X on the Car 98 in first-person mode is perfect. It's a great high vision scope that allows you to move around, acquire your targets, and snipe effectively with magnification, whereas the hollow sight or the red dot wouldn't be providing that. So you can be a very tactical and mobile sniper with the 2X. Very great addition there. On top of that, the 8X scope has had the black distance around the center of the sight increased, so it actually decreases the overall vision. This actually took me a couple of days to understand. I felt like the 8X was a lot more narrow. I couldn't quite put my finger on it, but they have reduced the visibility on the outsides of the scope and really force you to look all the way down the sight. So the trade-off there is having the magnification, but not the vision around that magnification. So your aim point has to be very focused prior to scoping, because you're going to be, reducing your field of view tremendously, and that is not a good thing when you're under fire from multiple positions. And the last one I wanted to touch on is the sound model. Now, the sound model is still kind of broken. I think we've seen that in the test server and with the bugged sounds. I don't know how to. The buggy is bugged. That's what I'm trying to say. So sometimes when in the buggy, you won't get any engine sounds at all. And the motorcycle's a little too loud for my liking. The plane's still too loud. The rain, all aspects of sound have been changed, and there are some bugs due to that. But where this change becomes underrated is the ability to determine where players are in the environment around you. It's much easier to determine where a player is inside a building and outside. The only barrier to making this a very well-rounded or complete sound model is the mono or stereo modeling of the sound in the game currently. Either someone is on left of you or right of you or in front of you and behind you. It's very hard to listen to them run around and have a realistic 3D sound model. So that's something I hope that they change. But for now, the ability to locate people inside of buildings and outside of buildings, and also hear them approaching or leaving buildings, is a lot easier, and thusly is a big improvement to the game. So I'm interested to hear what you guys liked or disliked about some of the changes I mentioned. Any changes that you think are underrated in the game, I'm interested to hear your feedback. Be sure to head down to the comments section and leave a comment. If you liked the video, be sure to like it. If you disliked it, dislike the video. And don't forget to check us out on Twitch, www.twitch.tv/wtfmoses. I'm off until Wednesday, out of town for work. I hope you guys enjoy your week and have enjoyed this video. And until next time, I'll see you out there.